you call love, but confess you've been a messin' where you shouldn't have been a messin', and now someone else is getting all your best.
Hello, East Castle Place. Welcome to another edition of Quick Trivia with Mike. I'm your host and the Quizmaster, Mike Brever. Quick Trivia with Mike is seen right here on channel 955 all weekend long, either the original version on Friday or in repeats later Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You know by now how the game works. I give you a series of facts, sometimes a little bit more contemporary in nature, sometimes a little bit more historical in nature, and I see if you can guess the trivia surrounding those facts. Hopefully you have a lot of fun with this. I know I do. You know how the game works by now. Once again, I give you 3 questions every week. I begin the next week's show by giving you the answer to the questions. Then I give you 3 new questions for the coming week. Let's get right into it, shall we? However, before we begin, we have a new tradition here at Quick Trivia. The birthdays! East Castle Place birthdays. And we do have a couple of them this week. On August 1st, we have Kathleen Forrestal celebrating her birthday. And on August 8th, Seneca Church is celebrating the 55th anniversary of her 29th birthday. Happy birthday to Kathleen and Seneca. If you see them in the halls, wish them a very happy birthday, especially if you see them on their specific days. All right, let's get into last week's questions, shall we? We began by telling you a little bit about Leslie Towns Hope. Who cares about Leslie Towns Hope? Maybe nobody, unless you know what he went by in Hollywood. Bob Hope. Bob Hope, born May 29th, 1903 and died July 27th, 2003. Lived to the good old age of 100. You know that Bob was one of the most beloved entertainers in vaudeville, then on radio, then in movies in Hollywood. He actually starred, or appeared rather, in 70 films. He was the star in 54 of them. What really defined him in the minds of a generation, though, was his work with the USO. For decades, he would go out during the holiday season. Actually, he did it before the holidays so it could be taped and shown here on American television during the holidays. And he entertained our troops. He did it for about 50 years. Just a wonderful, wonderful legacy for a wonderful entertainer. But we talked about his 70 films and the 54 in which he starred. You know that there is a tie to those films and Bob Hope in the Academy Awards. Bob hosted the Academy Awards 19 times, more than any other host. That's probably the other thing that most people know him for. I asked you last week, though, how many of his movies, how many Academy Awards did Bob himself win during his long and glorious career? How many Academy Awards did Bob win? Well, you know, it was kind of a standing joke with the Oscars that Bob never actually won an Academy Award for any of his movies. He did, however, win Academy Awards. Bob won 5 Academy Awards. In 1940, he won a silver plaque special Oscar for recognition of his unselfish services to the motion picture industry. In 1944, he won an Academy Award for life membership in the Academy for his many services to the Academy. In 1952, he won a statuette for his contribution to the laughter of the world, his service to the motion picture industry, and his devotion to the American premise. In 1959, he won a statuette for the Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award. And in 1965, he won a Gold Medal Academy Award for unique and distinguished service to our industry and the Academy. Kind of a trick question. Bob never won an Academy Award for any of his work or any of his individual movies. But he did win 5, if you will, Lifetime Achievement Awards from the Academy. So the answer is that Bob won 5 Academy Awards during his lifetime. We next talked about Vincent van Gogh, the Dutch painter, born on March 30th, 1853 and died on July 29th, 1890, 3 days after he tried to take his own life, but he actually died from the complications of the wounds that he self-inflicted. You know that he led a tortured life, actually. His brother was his main source of financial support during his lifetime. As it turns out, Van Gogh's true claim to fame didn't occur until after his demise. He was very good friends with other artists of the day, Paul Gauguin in particular. And you know, to a certain extent, they were seen as rivals also. But Gauguin actually suffered from psychotic episodes and delusions. And you know, the treatment of mental illness back in the day isn't what it is today. We still have a long, long ways to go. But the treatment of mental illness was nowhere back in 1853 to 1890. So Van Gogh was pretty much left on his own. I pointed out to you, however, that in spite of the fact that he was a notable artist of his day, and he actually produced over 2,000 paintings in his lifetime. I asked you, how many of those paintings actually sold during his lifetime? The answer, 1. He sold only 1 of his paintings during his lifetime. His paintings now sell for millions of dollars. But in his lifetime, he was kind of seen as a failure. All of that turned around, as it does so often in art, with the history of somebody post-mortem. So there you have it. Vincent van Gogh only sold 1 painting during his lifetime. That's the answer to question number 2. Question number 3, we took a brief look at Egyptian pyramids. Actually, pyramids in general. We told you about, you know, how many of them actually were graves. You know, they were started during the first dynasty, especially in the region of Saqqara and Memphis. Really, they became living testaments to that era. They are such monumental structures that we're not even 100% certain how they were built. Engineers can conjecture clearly a great deal of labor, and in all likelihood, slave labor is what created the pyramids. They now are just geographic monuments that serve as a testament to wherever they are located. I asked you, however, where is the world's largest pyramid? That was question number 3. The answer, the world's largest pyramid, kind of a trick question, is actually hidden under a hill. Mexico's Great Pyramid of Cholula, built around 300 BC, is the largest monument ever constructed with a volume twice the size of Giza's Great Pyramid. No one knows who built it or why, and why it was abandoned, but it went undiscovered until locals tried to build an insane asylum on top of the pyramid in 1910. Kind of bringing a holistic closure to our 3 questions this week. Van Gogh really suffered from psychotic episodes. The Great Pyramid in Mexico was discovered when an insane asylum was attempted to be built in 1910. That, my friends, was the answer to question number 3. Now, you know that if 2 or more of you get the same number of questions correct, we have a tiebreaker. The tiebreaker is the bumper music. It's anonymous. You listen at the beginning of the show, at the end of the show. If you can identify that bumper music, that is the tiebreaker for the week. The tiebreaker this past week, it was Blue Jean Blues by that Texas trio ZZ Top. Now, you know, I talk about Scott McFerrin and Cooper Ledvina and the influence they have on the show. One of the things that Scott does is he picks the bumper music, and he has a couple notes about why he chose Blue Jean Blues, done by the Texas power trio ZZ Top. Dusty Hill of ZZ Top fame passed away last week. While this band may not be in the wheelhouse of many residents here at East Castle Place, Scott was relatively sure that everyone has been touched by their signature style and panache at some point. He also tied the intermission to fit the theme. One of the early MTV hits back in the day was ZZ Top's tongue-in-cheek take on TV dinners. So there you have it. It was ZZ Top's Blue Jean Blues and Scott's explanation for why we selected it. Great job, Scott. And I can tell you, it stumped the audience. Doesn't happen that often, but for the 2nd time in a row, and only the 3rd time in our 73 weeks of programming now, the winner of Quick Trivia with Mike, the production team. We stumped the audience this week. We didn't have a winner. So, the production team of Quick Trivia with Mike, the team that stumped the audience, is the winner for this coming week, and you're going to see their picture on channel 955 all week long. Congratulations to Scott and to Cooper. Hopefully we'll break that trend and have a winner for the coming week. Now we're going to pause for a brief intermission. Grab yourself a donut, a cup of coffee. Come on back. I've got 3 new brain teasers that I think you're going to have a lot of fun with. Hurry back. I'll be right here.
Medium turkey chili.
Medium crab bisque.
We didn't get any bread.
Just forget it. Let it go.
Excuse me, I think you forgot my bread.
Bread, $2 extra.
$2, but everyone in front of me got free bread.
You want bread?
Yes, please.
$3! What? No soup for you.
Oh, man. Oh, this is fantastic. How does he do it?
Well, I gotta go back there and try again.
Didn't you already get soup?
No, I didn't get it.
Why? What happened?
I made a mistake. All right, well, we'll see what happens to you.
Yeah, no. Listen, George, I am quite certain I'm walking out of there with a bowl of soup.
Good afternoon. One large crab bisque to go. Red.
Beautiful. You're pushing your luck, little man.
Sorry. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey there. One mulligatawny and, what is that right there? Is that lima bean?
Yes.
Never been a big fan. You know what? Has anyone ever told you look exactly like Al Pacino? You know, Scent of a Woman? Hoo-ah! Hoo-ah!
Very good. Very good. You know something? No soup for you! Come back 1 year! Next!
Welcome back to the second half of Quick Trivia with Mike. We've already given you the 3 answers to our questions from last week, and we've identified that the production team, the team that stumped the audience, is the winner for this week. Only the 3rd time in 73 episodes that the audience has been completely stumped. Let's see if we can break that trend for the coming week. We're going to start off by taking a look at the life of a young girl, Anne Frank. The Diary of Anne Frank is something that we all know very well. The reason I bring it up because August 1st, 1944 was the final entry in Anne's diary. Anne Frank was actually born June 12th, 1929. She died either in February or March of 1945. We don't have an exact date because she ultimately died in a concentration camp. She was a Dutch-German diarist of Jewish heritage. Her diary was written while she was hidden away in a secret room in the building where her father had worked prior to the beginning of the war. Otto Frank was her father. She gained fame posthumously with the publication of her diary in 1947. Of course, she lived most of her life in or near Amsterdam, also known as the Netherlands, having moved there with her family at the age of 4 and a half. Of course, being of Jewish descent, she lost her citizenship in 1941 when the Netherlands were conquered by the Germans. Of course, with everything that was happening, it was very clear at that point in time that her and her family would have to be secreted away, or they would be taken away by the Nazi conquerors of her home. That did in fact last for a very long time, until they were arrested by the Gestapo in 1944. She was in fact turned in. There was a tip to the Gestapo about the Frank family and several other people hidden away. We don't really know who did it, but there is a notation in the files that it came from a tip. Otherwise, they may have been able to live out the war in hiding. You know, by 1944, by the time that they were actually caught, people could already see that the Nazi regime was on decline, the Allies were advancing, and it was only a matter of time, so it truly is a tragedy. When Anne was captured, she and her sister were transferred from, they initially went to Auschwitz. They then went to the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp. It's probable that Anne died of typhus. Just a few months later, the sad irony is, as we know now, primarily the Nazi regime came to an end with the suicide of Hitler at the end of April. By the end of the first week in May, the war in Europe had come to an end. So it was only less than 8 weeks short of the end of the war that Anne died. My question to you, did anybody in the Frank family survive? Did anybody in the Frank family survive? If not, the answer is no. If yes, who? If anybody from the Frank family survived, who was it? That is question number 1 for the new week. Question number 2. We're deep in the throes of the Olympic Games right now. The Olympics being held in Japan, the Summer Olympics. The modern Olympic Games are the leading international sporting event featuring summer and winter competition. Literally thousands of athletes from around the world participate in a variety of different athletic events. The Olympic Games are considered the world's foremost sports competition, with more than 200 nations participating today. The Olympics are typically held every 4 years. You all know now that the coronavirus pandemic canceled the 2020 games and they were rescheduled for 2021. The winter and the summer games are held in 4-year increments, but they occur every 2 years. The summer is, for example, 2020, 2024, 2028. The winter games are 2022, 2026, and so on. Kind of helps with the cost of the games. There's great competition from countries to host the games because there are billions of dollars to be made by the sponsor for the exposure that comes to your country. Of course, you spend hundreds of millions of dollars putting the games on. So it's not for the faint of heart, and it is always a challenge to make the games profitable. The Olympic movement consists of the international sports federations and the national Olympic committees from each of the participating countries. There are several Olympic rituals and symbols such as the Olympic flag, the torch, the opening and closing ceremonies, of course. Over 14,000 athletes competed at the 2016 Summer Olympics and the 2018 Winter Olympics combined. In 35 different sports and over 400 events. Gold medal for first, silver for second, bronze for third. As the gold medal is presented, the national anthem from the host or from the country of the winning team is played. Politics, of course, has entered the games. The games were boycotted once by the Russians. They were boycotted once by the Americans. This year you have the Russians competing as the Russian Olympic Committee rather than representing the country of Russia because of prior doping scandals, all kinds of stuff. The Olympic motto, Citius, Altius, Fortius, a Latin saying, meaning swifter, higher, and stronger, is a motto that if we just focused on that, maybe everything else would go away. Of course, you know, it was patterned after the ancient Olympics held in Greece, where people became national heroes for winning. My question to you, since the very first modern Olympics, which took place in 1896 in Athens. Athens, of course, because of the ancestral home of the Olympics in Greece. Since that time, only 5 nations have participated in each modern Olympic Games. Name those 5 nations. Which 5 nations have participated in each of the modern Olympic Games since 1896, the Athens Games? Which are the 5 nations? That's question number 2. The third question today, we're going to take a look at POTUS number 45, Donald Trump. Donald Trump, born June 14th, 1946, and of course he is still alive. 45th President of the United States from 2017 to 2021. Donald Trump rose to fame as a self-proclaimed billionaire real estate developer. He also became a reality TV star with his program, The Apprentice. He reveled in the great ratings that he got on that show. He actually defeated Hillary Clinton in 2016 for the presidential race. He actually won the Electoral College. Hillary won the popular vote by a relatively small margin, but she did win the popular vote. He lost to Joe Biden. POTUS number 46. He again lost the popular vote. Biden won the popular vote by probably double what Hillary did. Biden also won the Electoral College, thus the transfer of power. Donald Trump is noted for several things he did during his term. There was the travel ban that he had on primarily Muslim majority countries. There was the additional construction on the border wall with Mexico. There was the tax code of 2017, commonly called the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017. Supporters claim that it was a strong boost to the economy. The less people paying taxes, the more money they have to invest in the economy. Detractors will tell you that all it did was help corporations and the rich. Arguments like that will probably go on for all time. He's also noted, however, for a pledge that he made. Donald Trump pledged during the 2016 campaign that he would donate his entire salary back to the federal government and he would work for free as the 45th President of the United States. Now, it is impossible by law for a president to work without pay. As a result of that, Donald Trump did in fact donate his salary to the federal government. The salary, by the way, of a president is $400,000 a year. So roughly over his 4-year term, $1.6 million. During his term, it can be documented that he donated $100,000 quarterly payments to federal departments such as the Department of Veteran Affairs, Department of Health and Human Services, the National Park Service. Unfortunately for Donald Trump's claim, although he may have donated his entire salary for the entire 4 years, the last donation that they know of came on July 23rd, 2020. And that donation came to the National Park Service. My question to you, has any other president ever donated their entire salary back to the federal government? Is Donald Trump the first president to donate his salary back to the federal government? That, my friends, is question number 3. You know by now how to win at Quick Trivia with Mike. Get your answers to me by noon on Monday. You can call my desk at 963-8425. You can email me at mbereaver@eastcastleplace.com. You can write your answers on a sheet of paper, slide them under my office door, or open the door. The door is unlocked. Enter and place the answers on my conference table. Or you can go to the receptionist downstairs, ask them to put the answers in my mailbox. Get your answers to me by noon on Monday. Maybe you will be in the winner's circle with your picture on 9:55 all of next week, just like the production team is going to have it this week. As always, I'd like to thank the management of ECTV, our president Tyler Gudix, our general manager Laura Wengler, my producer and cameraman Scott McFerrin. You also know now he does the bumper music. By the way, identify that bumper music as well to give your chance at a tiebreaker. Last but certainly not least, my artistic director, Cooper Ledvina. And by the way, if there's anything about Quick Trivia that you like, Scott and Cooper's fingerprints are all over it. I really encourage you to let them know if you're ever passing them in the hall that you enjoy the show. Soon, Scott, Cooper, and I have been talking about a change in format for the show. We're going to continue with the trivia format, but we're going to spice it up with a couple of new things in about 2 or 3 weeks. Stay tuned and you'll get a look, and hopefully you'll enjoy the changes. Until then, I am your host and the Quizmaster, Mike Brever. I would also like to thank all of you for inviting me into your home and spending this last half hour with me. I had a great time, and I hope you did as well. Until next week, I ask you all, please be safe, be smart, and be patient. We're going to get on the top of this pandemic surge soon, and all of the East Castle Place hospitality will be there for us to enjoy. Until next week, once again, so long, everybody, and have a great week.
Yeah. You keep lying when you ought to be truthing, and you keep losing when you ought to not bet. You keep saying when you ought to be a-changing. Now what's right is right, but you ain't been right yet. Are you ready, Boots? Start walking.